What's good, guys? Prince Sports here. Now, if you've been following boxing, you've been noticing what's going on. Canelo's biggest opponent in boxing, really, right now, is none other than Floyd Mayweather. Floyd and Canelo have been going back and forth with each other, um, talking trash, okay? Completely disrespecting each other. Recently, Floyd talked about how easy it was to beat Canelo Álvarez. And all this other stuff, and um, he even mocks the guy, make fun of him, calls him a cherry picker. And I find that funny because Floyd is criticizing Canelo for cherry picking fights and picking your own opponents and saying you need to face tougher competition. But that's the exact same criticism you was receiving when you was boxing. So I find that funny because you did the exact same thing. This is like, you know, a black guy like Wesley Snipes calling Michael Jordan, you know, more dark skinned than he is, and they both black. I mean, it makes no sense. It's just like, have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? And that's the same thing for Floyd Mayweather. I will give him credit for this. All right, there's a lot of people out there that's trying to discredit his win over Canelo. But you fail to realize Canelo had over 40 plus professional fights before he faced Floyd. He was knocking people out. He was holding titles. Okay, he was the champion. So you can't sit there and say he wasn't in his prime. You don't beat 40 professional fighters, win titles, and say you're not in your prime. The guy was 23 years old. He was more athletic. And there was one judge that thought that you won the fight. So if I'm Canelo, I would sit there and take that loss with some respect and be like, hold your head high and be like, hey, I didn't get the win overall, but I did so good that I didn't get knocked out. I just lost off points, okay? And there was a judge that even thought I won. So why would you try to discredit that loss or that win if you're Canelo or Floyd? All right? You should just take it for what it is. And Canelo, it's not looking too good for you to sit there and still be telling people, hey, I didn't really lose to Floyd. I'm this and that. It don't really count. I was this. You were 23 years old, more athletic, more bigger, more younger than Floyd. Floyd was 4 years away from being 40 years old and still beat you. So if I was you, I'd let sleeping dogs lie. That's my rebuttal towards Canelo. My rebuttal towards Floyd is, dog, enough, okay? You can't sit there and try to criticize a guy from doing something that you did, okay? He maximizing his money flow. He's getting paid top dollar to fight guys that he know he could beat. He doing the same thing you doing. Only difference is he's knocking guys out and winning in more convincing fashion than you were. That's the only difference, and I sense a little bit of jealousy on Floyd's part because he's doing the same thing as you. He's so-called the pay-per-view king. He has the huge following. That reminds you of anybody? That reminds you of Floyd Mayweather. All right? You both guys cherry-picked. You both cherry-picked throughout your whole career for the most part. And it is what it is, okay? You can't sit there and have it any other way. Canelo needs to face more tougher competition. He's not fighting guys really in their prime. He's hand-picking fights that he know he can win. That's a fact. But he is the new generation version of you, Floyd. The only difference is he don't talk as much trash, all right? And he wins in more convincing fashion, okay? That's it. That's the only difference between that. So for you to call him a cherry picker, I find it kind of ironic that you're doing that. So I kind of got criticism for both of you because you're both looking foolish. All right? Canelo, accept the fact that you lost to an older guy. And Floyd, accept the fact that, hey, your career is just as valued as Canelo's. See how people disrespecting Canelo and don't value his career or his wins too much? It's the same way for you. All right? So neither one of you guys are going to go down as the true quote-unquote GOAT. And Canelo could finish the rest of his career being with one loss on his resume, and still people won't consider him the GOAT. It is what it is. Prince Sports out. Peace.